I met this founder, and he goes, "Hey, Rohan, things are great. We have a solid team. We have a strong product. We have found the product market fit. But we have one challenge. We are not able to sell." That prompted a conversation. How can that be, right? It's a strong product, amazing team, and there's this fit as well. The market needs it, but you're not able to sell and scale. That prompted this conversation about digital empathy through personal branding. We ended up talking, what role does personal branding as the CEO, as the founder, as the core team plays when they go out there and try to sell the product/service? Things are changing, right, in the industry. We have heard all these talks about AI and how AI is forming a center stage in not just technology, and every vertical is getting disrupted through AI. When you're talking about selling as a technical sales guy, right, when you're selling a product or service, both the services which you're selling and the way in which you are selling those services are getting more sophisticated, right? So this is important. What you are selling is getting sophisticated, and how you are selling is also getting more sophisticated. So that's where I think the power of personal branding comes in, right? Because that's where you'll build those human connects. When you go out there and try to acquire customers, you have to be more approachable. You need to build that human connects. So I delved deep and figured out what are the stories that made my personal brand. So we're talking about selling a product or a service. How can you leverage digital empathy through your personal branding? So I thought about my own stories, and I wanted to communicate those to you. So the first one is about taking action. I remember vividly when I was with my parents, perhaps about 10 years old, and we went to a restaurant, and the food was not that great. I was of the shy type, and I was like, hey, why to even mention that, hey, it was not good? But my parents taught me that if something is not working out, you got to act. You got to have your voice heard. You got to speak up. That's what I did. And that was a lesson in action. You cannot be a bystander. You got to act. It contributes to your personal branding. The second one is being fearless. My dad, when he had an idea, he would go out and he would write to the CEO of a multi-billion-dollar company without thinking twice. If a product or service was not up to mark, again, he will use the channels, and if it's not coming to a resolution, he would write to the managing director. And guess what? Most of the times, he always got a response. So that got on to me, that you got to be fearless when you're building your personal brand. You cannot have any inhibitions. The third story is about risk-taking. I was born and brought up in India, and I had this opportunity when I was about 21 years old to relocate to the United Kingdom, to London. I was getting the heebie-jeebies. I was skeptical. Should I go away from the family? I was visualizing that in terms of geographic distance. Again, my parents told me, think in terms of time. Flip the story. I was coming back home overnight in a train. It used to take me about 11 hours. When I relocate to London, when I grab a flight, I can be back home in 8 hours. So it's 10 hours or 12 hours versus 8 hours, right? So you have to take the risk. You have to change the perspective. That helps with your personal branding as well. The next story is try. When I was in London, there was this fast-track leadership program which the company had launched. So the message of the story is I put my hat in the ring, and not only did I also communicated to my friends and acquaintances to apply for the program, even though they would become my competition in that program. Guess what? A lot of them did. I got selected, and they also got selected. And that's what shaped our personal brand and our careers over the next few years. So my point is, put your hat in the ring. Try. The next story I have is solve. There's this customer I used to work with over a decade ago, insurance company, and they had an interesting problem. Drones were not that big of a deal back then. But when it comes to underwriting, when it comes to claims and stuff, they were interested in dabbling into drones as a service. We had never done that before. But there was an interesting opportunity of solving the customer's pain point using drones as a service for the first time. We ended up doing that. It got published and covered, got global press coverage through Forbes, great visibility for the company, good visibility for me at a personal level as well. So the message is solve. Solve your customers' pain points, think innovatively, get things done. The last story I have is be good. Don't be a spectator. When you see things are wrong in the society, step up. Take action. Last year, I ran for the mayor of the city of Fremont, here in the San Francisco Bay Area. I didn't win, but I got 12% of the citywide vote. Why I ran? I wanted to solve the problems that our city was facing: crime, homelessness, corruption. I cannot be a spectator. Like I told you the stories and how I was brought up, I decided to step up. Even though I didn't win, I got an opportunity to meet individuals. I got an opportunity to meet institutions, and we are working offline to solve some of the same challenges. I would have never met these people or these institutions had I not decided to step up. And why did I do that? I wanted to do something good for the society. How does this personal branding translate over to driving results? Right? Sales success. One of our customers recently wanted to embark on an automation initiative. And again, a new technology, entirely new stack. We had never done that. But the personal branding and the stories which I told you, that prompted trust in the customer to trust us and work on that automation in a completely new way and get things done. So that prompted sales success, right? In this age and these times, you got to build specialization. You got to specialize in one area when it comes to technology sales, right? That's what is going to bring you the competitive edge. And once you dive deep into a particular vertical, you would discover partnerships as well. Interesting new collaborative ventures and partnerships, which can benefit the wider ecosystem. And what are you achieving through this? You are driving authenticity, you're driving value, and you're creating impact. So we spoke about personal branding. We saw how it drives results. Let me bring it back home. Let's talk about your brand and your impact. If I go to the first slide, there's a quote over here. Faithless is he who says farewell when the road darkens. Pretty cool, huh? So what that means is never give up, right? As a sales guy, as a technology sales professional, it's your job to be patient, to have passion, to persevere, right? And to derive phenomenal value for your customers and partners. I spoke about my stories and how that shaped my life and my personal brand, and how I've been using that to drive success in business. I want you to think about your stories. What has shaped you as a person? How is that going to propel your careers? How are you going to drive value for your end customers? With the pace at which technology is evolving, it's less about what you are selling, but more about who you are as a person and what value you are bringing to the ecosystem, to your customers, to your partners. Your brand is your superpower. Use it to drive impact. I want to leave you with a challenge. build your brand, explore your uniqueness, use that to drive value and impact. For all the sales guys out there, go out there, make your mark. Thank you.